everybody. Hello, Ray. Hello, Frank. Boy, we're a small group today. Small, small but mighty. Is that what it is? And so, can we just talk about the cheesy rock and roll? So the reason that's there is because I had like 10 minutes before we started. I went into YouTube to download some of their free music, so that we'd have not just dead air before. So that's all you get. Sorry.
That's all right. I thought it was a transition from Jeff's choices.
Well, he has better music choices than I do, apparently, but I've never understood jazz. It's like it's above me. I'm not smart enough to understand jazz.
But you're a musician. You
yeah, I'm a musician. But I play the four chords that make up every single rock song. You know, A minor, G, D, E minor, whatever they are. So, in any case, so Frank, you posted. I didn't know this. We got some nice whiteboard updates. Yeah,
we sure did.
Yeah, I didn't see that. We should take a look at that. I have up the change logs for cuts, ISO, and OSC. Do you want to share with us a little bit about the whiteboard updates? Are you cool doing that?
I can tell you what I read. I don't use the whiteboard, so I was hoping one day somebody would take us on a tour of the whiteboard.
Well, we should do it. We should definitely do it in here.
Let me try to remember what they all are. Give me a minute to look at my notes.
Yeah, and I'm gonna open up while we're doing this. I'm gonna open up a whiteboard. How do you want to? You know what? I'm not going to open a whiteboard. I'm going to wait, and then we'll do it together so we can actually watch what's going on.
You used to move things around a whiteboard all the time. What was that you were using? Was that Zoom whiteboard? I
think so.
Okay.
I think it was. Yeah.
Used to be a big fan of it.
Yeah. And then, like Frank, I've never used it.
I still use the classic. I don't know if you know the terminology, the whiteboard that's not online sort of it. There's the classic whiteboard and there's this other whiteboard. We don't use the other whiteboard yet.
Is there a reason? What is that a security issue? Is that what that is?
No, it had, I don't know, in our opinion, I won't say for everyone, but we were waiting for it to become a little better in regards to accessibility issues.
Oh, I remember you shared that with us. Yeah. All right, August 27th. Oh, this must be the one that you're talking about. The update you're talking about must be for August 27th. Because it looks like the last one was July 23rd. Yeah.
Quite often these things you'll see, I don't know if you get notifications, but I do. Web maintenance backend, no operational impact emails. So they'll probably get one of those this weekend and turn everything on. But I've got the notes in front of me now, finally.
Yeah, please.
I'm just going to do the highlights. I can share the link if anybody wants it in the chat. Give me 1 second. Chat. Here's the release notes.
Yep. And I've got the notes.
There's a lot of sort of things about controls, like what can people upload, what can't they upload. Oh, this is interesting. Support for iframes in the whiteboard. So now you'll be able to put YouTube videos, Vimeo, other kind of things like that into your whiteboard. So I guess you'll be able to have live,
and control them. Right?
Yeah, live video in the dashboard of, that's pretty exciting, I think.
I wonder how that's going to play with so in screen sharing, if you're sharing a video, you have to, check that little toggle that says optimize for video in order to get the audio to come through. I wonder how that's going to work with this. Well,
so there's two ways you can use these whiteboards. You can use them on the fly, like live while you're having a meeting or whatever. But you can also, let's say you're an instructor, you can pre-design your whiteboards like a PowerPoint slide deck, so that when you do the teaching, sorry, my wife. So when you're teaching, everything's pre-formulated, and you can use it like a PowerPoint slide deck. And the other thing is, you have the ability to share these outside of meetings. So for in the case of teaching, or maybe, for organizations that are working on projects, you could use it like an idea board or something where people could access it before, during, and after the meetings, right? So you get
Right.
meeting artifacts out of it too.
Yeah. So outside of the meeting, I think the widgets are easy, fantastic. My question is, inside of a meeting, how is the audio gonna play?
Yeah, I don't know, but
will there have to be a toggle or something? Okay.
I'm not quite sure. One of the enhancements, which may be boring for a lot of people, but for people who administer, Zoom accounts across a lot of people, retention policy settings for the whiteboards. So I'm pretty sure whiteboards count against your cloud hosting. So for your storage, so having retention periods is important, because especially in my profession, we have regulations about how long course materials have to be retained. But also, you could set retention so that if you're worried about running out of cloud space, you could say, we're not keeping everything forever. Your whiteboard's good for 2 years. If you really care about it, download it. Otherwise, it's going to go poof at some point, right? So retention policies are a good thing. I was wondering if Zoom was ever going to do that with whiteboards. If you don't have a lot of storage on your Zoom hosting, then that's a concern, right?
Yeah.
You'll now be able to make template favorites. I guess that's kind of like bookmarking one. You can make it your favorite. The commenting's been enhanced, allowing users to maximize marketing. Insert hyperlinks in comments. Better keyboard shortcuts for usability, keeping the data while drafting the content, and more. I don't know what the
hyperlinks in comments is nice.
Yeah, and then
that's a nice feature.
Ability to import text or CSV files as sticky notes.
This I love. I love this one. If you've got like a list of different options, you want to quickly create a sticky note for each of them. Now you just export as a CSV and import it. I think that's really interesting.
I can't really talk about it, but I think it was yesterday or the day before, I went to a special meeting with some people from Zoom, and they showed us a bunch of whiteboard enhancements that are coming this fall, let's say.
And it was fun. It was exciting.
I wasn't that. It was okay. There was something else I can't talk about that was really exciting. Check your release notes September 1st. There is a new thing coming for Zoom that I'm very excited about. And I had no idea it was coming. I was completely caught off guard. I usually have some inside information. This one was brand new to me, and I can't wait to talk to you guys about it. And one day we'll have a good conversation. But I know you hate me. I'm always throwing out these.
Now we have a problem.
I'm clickbait, Frank. Yeah, I know.
That's exciting. For vanilla Zoom or
for free users, it comes out first, and for other kinds of accounts,
right.
For some reason, it comes out later on the 11th, I think.
All right, cool. We'll look forward to that.
It's awesome. Really cool.
Nice.
And they're integrating. I read about it. They're integrating with Teams.
That's not the one I'm talking about.
Let me just show you all. Well, let me first get out of this. So if you, because we were talking about kind of what does it look like when you want to play with whiteboards. So this is, where am I? I've lost myself. There I am. Full. Okay. So this is the pop-up that you now get for whiteboards. I have none in here, obviously, and you can see you've got your templates here.
Yeah, the templates are really exciting too.
I think these are nice.
Very useful starting point. If when some people, I don't know everybody, but writing the hardest thing is having a blank piece of paper, and where do you start? Having a template gets you going, right?
So where are you from? Rosebud Thorn, two truths and a lie, mapping, meetings. It's really nice.
Strategy, I remember when there were no templates. So, if you're new to this, this really gets you off on the right foot.
Absolutely. So I'm gonna just grab here. I don't know. What should we choose? Venn diagram, bullseye, SWOT. Let's do a two truths and a lie. So use template. How do I want to open the board? Collaborating, meeting participants are granted edit permissions, or presenting, meeting participants are granted view permission, and the board is opened in presentation mode. Huh. I wonder how that's different. Maybe we'll do a little bit of both.
Well, I mean, if you were giving a presentation, you didn't want people changing your slides. Or
I'm curious what presentation mode means. If that looks different than when it's
I doubt it does. I think it just means you don't allow anyone to collaborate, so they can't change it on you while you're working on it, right?
Allow persistent access to verified meeting participants after closing the whiteboard. Okay. So create, and now it should open up for all of us this.
Oh, you gave us co-editing privileges too. Eh?
I did. Oh, it's interesting. I just got a pop-up. Oh, okay. I have to give it permission to record my screen. I'm not sure why I hadn't done that yet, but now I'm doing that. Okay. Oh, no. No. It wants me to quit Zoom Cuts. All right, I'm not going to do that. In any case.
So right now it says upload PDFs and images. I imagine maybe next week you'll be able to add videos as well.
Yeah, let's see here. Let me make this a little bigger for us, so the people watching at home can see. So this is the, so this is the template, and you can see people moving around. So you can grab the little stickies, you can move them, you can type inside, hi there. You can add more. You all can add, right? You can add and change things? Yeah,
I just added a box, yeah.
Just watching the actual YouTube feed, the whole whiteboard is now pretty much the full screen with you in the top right-hand corner.
Correct. Yeah. Oh, interesting. So because I didn't think about that. So so you don't even need me to be in live demo mode. So now, I mean, it'll catch up in a second. But
can I point something out that's really important?
Yeah.
There's this thing in the bottom right-hand corner called mini map. I'm not going to take credit for this being here, but I definitely put in a feature request about 7, 8, 9 months ago about this.
I remember you spoke about this.
Yeah, well, so for anyone who wasn't at the last Zoom Test Kitchen, one of the concerns we had about this is an infinitely scrolling whiteboard, and there was no way to know in your current view if there was more content outside of your view. The mini map's supposed to help address that, so that it gives you a sense where you are on the infinite whiteboard.
Right.
So
if you,
I
don't know how well people can see this. Mike, are they seeing my whiteboard, or are they just like?
They are seeing the whiteboard. I'm now. I see right now it's going away, so we got a just white screen. So you must have went down on the.
So yeah,
whiteboard.
Okay. So it's following my whiteboard. So for what it's worth, if you are streaming and using a whiteboard, it will follow. It looks like it follows the host. So the mini map is in the bottom here. Frank is inviting you to follow.
Sorry, I'm just
what does
playing.
that mean? Wait. I want to find out what that means. But before we do that, so the map at the bottom, I put a box way down at the bottom here. And so you can see, and as I move the map around, I can see what's available to me. I can move it around. You can also just click anywhere in the map and it'll automatically jump there, which is kind of nice, actually.
This reminds me of video games.
Yeah.
Just FYI, David, that's not being shown right now.
Oh, it's not? Okay.
Yeah, right now. Okay, now it is.
Okay.
Now I see your box. Again, I'm a little delayed, so don't mind me too. I'm watching.
Frank, what is the follow thing that you just clicked?
I don't know. I don't use this version of the whiteboard.
Where did you click though to get? Oh, I see.
At the very top,
the little eyeball.
Yeah, I was.
Right,
I was trying to add a comment actually, and I can't seem. I don't know if comments are turned off.
So
but
I'm following Frank now, and
yeah.
So now whatever you do, Frank, I imagine if you move your screen, if you scroll your screen, I'm going to follow you, presumably.
How do you?
Just scroll up or down or something.
All right.
There you go.
Did you
So
did you
I
follow me?
You. Exactly.
Hey,
And
I have
now up at the
followers.
top here, I have a little thing that says you are following Frank, stop following or pause. So I'm going to go ahead and stop following. And I'm going to invite all of you to follow me. And it says now 0 people are following you. 1 person is following you. And then I have a button that says stop presenting. So it's interesting, presenting mode. So now all 3 of you are following me. And presumably if I scroll down here, you all will scroll down with me.
Yep.
Now I wonder though, what in presentation mode though, can you all still edit? Or when I have you follow me, does that mean presentation mode means you can't edit?
Oh, I'm scrolling the whiteboard up
And it's
down
not doing anything.
and it's doing it also on the folks at home. What do you see?
No, that's delayed, I think. That's when I was scrolling.
What are you seeing? Are you seeing me move it up and down?
I'm seeing you trying to move up, but you're not affecting anything because I'm the one who's presenting.
Yeah, right now on YouTube we are showing just the white screen with the gray box around a certain cell.
Yeah. That's me. So if I now scroll back up, you all will follow me and eventually the YouTube will follow that. So Ray, are you following me now, Ray?
I believe so. Yes, I am.
Oh my goodness. And look at this up in my top right-hand corner. I don't know if you all will be able to see this, but in the top of my right-hand corner, I'm curious if you all have this. Next to that eyeball that says invite all to follow me, I have request follow me or require follow me. So for teaching, I could, invite people to work on their own, and then I can click require follow me. And I may have to try. Some users may be following another presenter. Would you like to present? So now I've forced all of you to follow me. Well, that's interesting. That's a nice little feature. And just out of curiosity, can you all edit anything? Can you move anything now or add anything? You can, because I see Ray moving something.
Yeah, I can still just.
1, 2, 3 on a box that I moved from person.
Yeah. Interesting.
Can I move it for everybody?
I got it.
Yeah, this is still kind of new because I just clicked on the eyeball again and I got a warning that says some users may be following another presenter, but I know for a fact that you're all following me. So I'm not sure what that is. And I don't know how to turn this off now.
I have a drop-down list that says that you're presenting and that Mike, Frank, and I are just watching. They're binoculars next to our name.
Right. I just don't know how to turn it off though. How do I turn off presenter mode? Oh, I see. Sorry. In the middle, it says stop presenting. That's not a great choice because the start presenting is all eyes. It's called all eyes on me. Present and then stop presenting. Oh, when I went.
Minute timer.
Yeah. Who did that? Wait, was that me?
No, I did.
How did you do that?
I clicked on the little clock.
Oh, look at that. A little timer. And presentation? What does presentation do? Present frames.
Add a frame.
Wow. This is like really built out now. Huh. So yeah, I think that Ray, Frank, excuse me, I think this is sort of what you were talking about, that you can now really turn this into like a PowerPoint, but creating frames on this infinite canvas.
You can also add pages. So if you're not a fan of, infinite space,
Pages,
you could just use pages.
Yeah.
Frank, is that the number in the bottom right?
I think so. Yeah, page 1 of 1.
Okay.
Yep. So if you click on that, you get a little sidebar that allows you to. I'm not sure how to create a frame. Maybe it's just where you are, and I don't quite understand how frames works.
Lost on where you are, because I had present frames, and now I have no way to jump. I don't know how to jump back to see you since I was doing my own thing.
Interesting.
whatever.
Do you have an X? Yeah, frame 3. I still have frames up too, and
I don't see frame numbers.
No.
I'm not full screen. Let me go full screen.
yeah. See, I see. So if you look in the mini map down at the bottom, I can see I've created. I don't know if you can see. I've created. There are 4 frames. Oh, one just disappeared. Someone just deleted a frame. So there's what we started with, and then there are these frames. I wonder, like, I don't know what you can do with the. All right, so I guess what you have to do with frames is you have to start with a frame because can you move things in? Oh, you can move things into a frame, but you can't move a frame. Oh, but you can resize a frame.
So what's the paradigm for frame? A set boundary, and you put content inside of it? Saying, I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. View. Huh. Present. It's under presentation.
Interesting. I just found the fit to screen.
Where's that?
When you got bottom right,
yeah,
you have your percentage.
Yep.
And that'll show you all it'll blow everything.
I'm just curious.
It'll make things smaller, but of course it blows it up better.
I'm going to force you all to follow me for a moment. I'm curious what you see. So now I'm in presentation mode, and I'm going to go ahead and present frames.
Yeah, we're automatically following you as soon as you did that.
So here's my first frame. Then I can go to my second frame. Yeah, this is really is like sort of a PowerPoint feature.
We're definitely living up to the test part of Zoom Test Kitchen today.
This is fascinating. It's funny, Ray, you said before that I remember at the beginning of this when I got all excited and hot and bothered about whiteboard. I haven't done it in such a long time because like you, Frank, I have no need for it. You have need for it. You just use a different tool, but I probably should use it. It's probably a better idea to use it.
It'll all depend on whatever content you want to show, of course, David.
Oh, you know what? Look at so on the left-hand side, basically the palette, you've got draw, shape, and the if you go under sticky note, you've got frame under sticky note. When you click on that, you can choose a different size. So this is, I guess, a quick way to create a frame and then put stuff in there. And then can you rename your frames? You can. Testing. Yep. You can duplicate a frame. You can export into PDF. Wow.
There's no hand to move this.
No, there isn't.
Sliders, which is really cumbersome.
Wait, tell me what you want to move again?
I'm on a frame that a couple of boxes that I just created, and I want to move. I want to, like you can in PowerPoint, or other programs. There's a hand that you can touch that moves it.
Right? You mean these boxes here?
Yeah.
So I just grabbed these, and you can move these.
Oh, okay. But
not from the middle. You have to grab from one of the edges.
Right.
You're right. That doesn't make a whole heck of a lot of sense.
Be faster if I had a hand.
Right.
Yeah, what I've been doing, guys, is on this, I've actually got a different icon. I actually got the 4 arrows icon when I went over top of the box that I did. But again, I went fit to screen. So I don't know if it's a fit to screen function as compared to zoomed in 100% ish feature, because it's easy for me to just grab the box and move it over to wherever I want.
Yeah, no, you can, if you have to grab one of the outside bounding boxes, one of the outside bounding lines rather. Actually, you know what? No, sorry. It's just the top or the bottom. I'm playing with it now. If you grab the side, anywhere on the side, no, it doesn't. Oh my goodness. Hold on. If you grab the left side, you move the box. If you grab the top, you move the box. If you grab the bottom, you move that line. And if you move the right, you move that line. It's really sort of interesting. And then if you click on multiple boxes, you get this pop-up up on top, and you can merge cells, you can add a row, you could change the fill color, and a whole bunch of other options.
Mm-hmm. And again, depending on if you're a Mac or PC, I know Ray, you should be able to do what I'm doing, which is right mouse click on the actual frame, and you can start doing all kinds of different things like copy, paste, duplicate, export to PDF.
Right.
You can do that on Mac also. You don't have all those options on Mac. You have a bunch of them when you right click. Insert row, insert column, move row down, yada yada, to get to the
Choices.
where's the export to PDF? I saw that before, but now I'm not seeing it.
I found upload to PDFs is the up arrow on the left-hand side list next to the bottom.
Mm-hmm.
PDFs and images.
Wow. This is fascinating because depending on exactly where you put your mouse. So if you put your mouse on the black line, the black outline of the box, it moves the box on the top. If you go just above, you get a very thin blue kind of boundary box. If you click on that, you get more options, including you can change the color of the whole table, you can change the outline of the whole table, you can add a column, add a row, you can lock the table, you can format the text in the table, and then you can also export as data. I still don't have the export to PDF. Oh, the export to PDF was not it was the what's it called? It was the frame. Sorry, that's where.
Right. Sorry. Yeah.
I added a PDF. The listening is a PDF.
Wait a second. Where's the PDF?
I put it in the middle of the top box.
Middle of the top box.
Yeah. After hours, co-host is listening with a. I can't point to it, but you see the in the blue boxes, it's in the top.
You know what? I wish you can't double click to zoom in. I wish you could.
Yeah, they want you to use the bottom plus and minus magnify.
Or for me, command. So that after hours co-host is listening, that's a PDF.
Yeah, I imported a PDF. See the whole box? It's just a corner.
It's a lower third sort of bug. Gotcha.
See if I can get rid of it.
Yeah,
Wow.
on YouTube, where actually it was very small there momentarily, but yeah. So they are seeing the blue box right now on YouTube.
And if you look at down at in the very bottom of the palette on the left, you've got more tools. Interesting. You know what? My upload PDFs and images. Boy, it's interesting. This is still a little bit in beta because mine, I'm getting it's grayed out and I'm getting the circle with the line through it. But then when I click on it, it goes to find a PDF. So it's Yeah, let me see if I can upload this. So now what happened? Did I upload that? I don't even know. How do you know if you've uploaded something?
The 351 box I uploaded, and it was not, it said upload a PDF, and it was not a PDF. It was a something from.
So it's interesting. See, it's saying I can't upload, but then it's opening up an upload thing, and then I'm clicking a PDF, but nothing's happening. I'm not sure what to make of that. I'm gonna come back over to this box. Wonder why I can't upload a PDF. Upload PDFs and images. In any case, but down underneath that was this more tools.
Yep.
There's a mind map, a table, Kanban. I don't know how to pronounce that. Sorry. Card. Here's a card. This is a card. I'm not sure what it's
I added a
for.
Kanban. I have no idea what a Kanban is.
So Kanban is it's for what do you call it?
Project management.
To do, yeah, project management. Yeah, I've never used it, but what is calendar? Oh my goodness, look at this. So when you put a card in, you can assign it to a person. You can give it a date. I'm going to say tomorrow. I don't know what that's going to do. It added the date. You can click status, to do, blocked, in progress.
It's for project management.
Yeah.
Or, projects, whatever. So you imagine like a chalkboard, and you put stickies on it, and then each sticky can be like a task, and then you can assign the task to one or more people.
Yep.
And then you can rearrange the stickies up and down. That's how Kanban boards work.
Right. Interesting. It's interesting to me that you called it a sticky only because, see, now I'm creating these.
Well, they're cards. They're really called cards.
Yeah, they're not. Yeah, because sticky is a different thing here.
But I meant if you had Post-it notes, you could make a Kanban board out of something as simple as Post-it notes and stick them on things, right?
Incidentally, Ray, this card that I created, if you don't get the hand, you still have the arrow, but if you go into the middle of it, you can drag it around. You don't have to drag the edges. In fact, you can't grab the edges on this particular one.
Yep, I see that.
Yeah.
That opened up a bunch of, when I did that, it opened up an expand and assign. That's whether you got calendar status, color, and lock it. And three dots gave me another 10 things I can do.
Yeah. Oh my. Yeah, look at expand. This is some text. Is anyone able to?
I have a question for you, David.
Yeah.
So, as all things Zoom, there's controls in the admin of your account for, this whiteboard, and then there's personal settings. So if you didn't, I don't know if you've ever gone and adjusted any of those settings, because I imagine this would react a little differently depending on what administrative changes you make on the back end, right?
I don't know. I basically just turn everything on. Let me see. Let's see here. I'm gonna go ahead and just jump us. Is there a way to close the whiteboard? I'm gonna close the whiteboard just for a moment. Oh God, hold on. Sorry. Oh dear Lord.
Video feedback.
Yeah, sorry about that, everyone.
No, it's not a big deal.
Okay. Here we go. So this is on the back end here. Whiteboards. So these are all the templates. Here's the one we were just working on. But let's go into, I have to log into my other account, right? So let's look at the personal settings. So these are the personal settings here. Under whiteboard, allow export of whiteboard content. Everyone can do that. Participants can share. Out of meeting whiteboard is turned on. Whiteboard sharing, only invited users. I don't have an option for anyone. That must be a
Global account setting.
global, yeah. Yeah. Default advanced sharing. Auto delete specified whiteboards, and that's it. Let me jump over to the main account and see what settings we have over there.
While you're doing that, I will say that Zoom has been doing a lot of product development on these whiteboards, and there seems to be changes quite often. I get notifications, so it's come quite a way. But.
Yeah, I'm honestly, I'm sort of stunned. I and embarrassed that I hadn't looked in a while. It's really pretty fantastic what they've done here. All right, so let's go back now to account management, account settings, and let's look in whiteboard. So enable in-meeting whiteboard, allow whiteboards to be saved to cloud, allow export, the sharing. Here it is. Oh, interesting. Allow participants to share whiteboard, but saving this saying nobody else except the host can share whiteboards during the meeting. Well, let's change that. And let's turn that on. So now everyone can do it. Sorry, folks, if we didn't have that before. Enable out of meeting whiteboard. Allow whiteboards to be saved to cloud. Sorry if there's noise behind me. I've got a bunch of kids in here. Also allow external authentication. Default access, only invited users. I still can't see, look, I still can't turn on anyone. Why not? Your admin has disabled this setting for your organization. Okay, but I am the admin. What am I missing here? Did I miss something up here? Oh, I bet you that's it. No, that wasn't it. External orgs. Oh, that is what it was. Sorry about that. So whiteboard cloud sharing, you have to change it to allow sharing with anyone with a Zoom account. Then you get this, who can access anyone, access level viewer. Save. Users can share at or below that permission level. Internal users can share with external users can invite others. And then we've just got these again. Show disclaimer when creating or opening a whiteboard. Don't need that. Send whiteboard preview in notifications. All right, so those are the settings. There you go. That's what it was. Huh. Okay. Wow. Are you all still there? I can't. Oh, you are still.
Yeah, definitely.
Good. Oh, there you go. Whiteboards. Wow. That was a lot.
I got a note from a fellow who was here for a few minutes and then left, Tom Doreen Dinnan, and I see a note on YouTube that said he was trying to get in to demo ZoomISO for somebody, and he said, "Can you let me in?" We let him in. And he left. My guess is that he left because he wasn't interested in whiteboard. Anybody that's watching in Zoom and wants to come in.
Yep, he's back. He's back. He heard your call. Tom is back.
Let's see if he's connected. Sorry, Tom, didn't cut you out. We were just in the middle of one exercise, but if you've got something you want to go through, please talk to us.
Hey, gentlemen. Sorry, I don't know why I was having trouble joining here today, and hope I wasn't too.
No, you're all comers are welcome.
All right, thank you. Well, I did have a question. Something I've been having trouble with ZoomISO, and that's capturing a screen. So capturing the screen share. And I don't know if anyone has like any tips or tricks or
So before you do anything else, I wonder if I can show this to you all. So Tom just yeah, he did. Good, I can show this to you. Tom just requested his ISO machine, and this is new. This just came out in the latest update that now there are two big changes. One is you can initiate the ISO capture machine even when cloud recording is happening. And number two, there are now two different permission sets that will allow the ISO machine to work. One is recording, which is what it always was, and the other is live stream. And from what I understand, live stream is now the default because it's more accurate to what ISO is actually doing. So I just want to show you all that I got this pop-up here that says request to live stream. And that has your name, Tom, is asking for permission to live stream to a custom streaming service. And then it gives the ZoomISO live stream. It's just, that's fantastic. It's a completely different workflow than it used to be. And it's really, as the host, I now know exactly what's happening. It's not some random recording message. And sorry.
And
It's now streaming.
I was just going to say, David, I just noticed now we have 2 active streams.
Right. So it says on our participant panel, it says that Tom is live. That's new also, I think. And that's in cuts. I'm in cuts right now. It says that Tom is live. Mine does not, interestingly enough, even though I'm the host and I'm streaming this YouTube, mine does not say live, which is a little interesting to me.
Well, I see host live on custom live streaming service.
Where do you see that? I'm just curious because I don't.
So in
Is that your
in my
participants
drop
panel?
down, in the upper right corner, in my drop down, right next to live, I've got active streams too.
Oh,
And it
yeah,
lists
yeah.
mine.
No, I mean in my participant panel, there's a
Oh.
big red live button next to your name,
Yeah,
and there isn't one next to my name, which is just a little interesting.
yeah, same here. I see the same thing.
So where are
In
you,
any case,
Tom? Can we see where you're streaming it to?
I'm just streaming it into ZoomISO.
right? He's not. That's the point. He's not streaming it. He's just that allowed his ISO engine to turn on.
Yes.
Yeah. So and it's interesting. The pop-up was the pop-up also sort of indicated the destination of his stream, which was ZoomISO as the destination. Yeah. What, Mike? What did you send?
And
opening it right now.
yeah, I showed the screenshot of
yeah.
of what I'm seeing there. And if you do actually click on the link where it says custom live streaming service, it actually goes to Liminal's website.
Yep. And that was in my pop-up, the permissions pop-up that I had. Sorry, Tom, didn't mean to hijack you there, but this workflow is new and it's wonderful. Thank you for.
Yeah, and it's nice because you don't even need to co-host me.
Yep.
So
That's right.
my next thing to do is to play with this in Zoom Government and see
So-
if I can.
Real quick, how did you ask permission?
So in ZoomISO, at the bottom, I was at standing by for the enable output engine. And I just clicked on enable, and then it popped up a dialog saying that you have to request.
Gotcha.
And that I didn't click anything after that. So that must have popped up the request to the host.
Gotcha. Okay.
So my thoughts on that is that what ZoomISO is actually doing now is it's pulling live streams versus live meetings.
I guess so.
I don't know if I'm Frank. I don't know if you have any input on that or not, but it's
I was talking to my wife. I don't know what you asked me.
Oh, I was just saying that instead of it actually pulling live meetings per each person now, it's actually pulling live streams for each person.
I have nothing to contribute. I don't use it. You guys know way more about it than I do.
I'm not sure that's actually the case. I'm not sure that has changed. I think it's just how it, the permissions that it uses and the language that it chooses. I'm just curious, because I'm not running ISO. I'm running OSC. Doesn't OSC? Oh no. Okay. OSC, in order to spotlight and all that, will need co-host still. So that doesn't change OSC's need for co-host. This changes ISO's need for co-host. Gotcha. All right. So I just unco-hosted myself, and I'm gonna co-host myself again. So Tom, take it away. You're up. Sorry. Oh, he stepped away. We scared him off. Tom, do you want to?
I have a screen that's on. I'm pumping a NDI out from ZoomISO to an Apple TV using the NDI source app, whatever it's called. I forget. I'd have to take a look at it on a different screen, and I had to make sure that I muted that so that.
Gotcha.
But your question was something about capturing a screen share?
Yes. So I've been having trouble figuring out exactly how I do it. So let me open up one other thing here. Live, because I'm essentially trying to get my process for using that live streamer or what is it? Live stream record, live mind recorder that was mentioned a few weeks back.
That Robert's using.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So I'm playing with that, working to develop a workflow for recording with that tool. And one thing that I noticed was that when I try to assign and capture a screen share, I don't seem to be able to pull up a screen share in ZoomISO. And so I'm wondering if I'm missing something with that.
Are you able to screen share what you've got there? I just downloaded. I actually didn't even have it downloaded. I just downloaded it again.
Yeah, just moving some things around on screens so that I can screen share and not show client information. Quit DaVinci Resolve. I have way too much open right now. Sorry, bear with me, gentlemen. Okay, now I've got a clean screen. All right. So if your screen share, and let's just go desktop 2. All right. So you should be seeing my screen here. And let me get this little preview open. Okay, but it is hiding the ZoomISO settings window. Can I get it to, let's see. It won't be in the OSC settings. No, it might be something I can grab from here. Go to video settings and general. Looking for that show meeting timers, enter full screen. Where's the checkbox for showing Zoom windows? So under video. Oh, it would probably be under share screen. Sorry, isn't there a way that I can enable Zoom to show the Zoom interface?
There is. I'm just not sure that you can do it mid-meeting.
No.
but I've got it up here. I don't, this might work for you. So these are just the notes. Let me just get rid of that. All right. So I've now joined the meeting, and so you can see here's the meeting right here, and you can see the screen share. Tom, this is your screen share. So go ahead and keep that up for me. And then if you go to under mode, so you've got output enabled, index, output name, and then the next one is mode. You've got participant, participant share, active screen share. Let's go to participant share. And let's do NDI. We don't need to embed audio, and I'll go ahead and bring that up. So that is not what we want. We want the active screen share. Preview.
Okay, so I did do what you were just saying. I'll switch this over to this one instead. Cancel. Okay, so I did do participant share.
No, so change it to, it's not participant share. Change it to active screen share.
Well, I did just to show real quick right here, hal.local ZoomISO 9, and I selected myself doing the screen share. So now active screen share. And with the active screen share, I'm seeing your screen. Are we both sharing screens right now?
No, I'm not.
Oh, interesting.
Can we actually ask, let's ask a third party to share a screen, because we might be getting confused with, can someone else throw anything up? It doesn't really matter what.
Well, here, let me move it over this way. Below there. So right now you have the active screen share. Oh, active speaker. Never mind. Active screen share.
So can someone else throw a screen share up of something, a desktop or a PDF or anything really? Perfect. Okay. So here we go. Zoom meetings, webinars, August. So now I'm going to go ahead and change this to active screen share. And if you look at if you can see it, I don't know if you can see it. When I preview it, I get the active screen share.
Yeah, I'm seeing that now as well. I don't know why. I was trying to do it the other day and I just wasn't able to get it to work, and it was driving me nuts.
Huh.
So
I will say that participant share, I'm guessing that participant share is, I don't know what participant share is.
yeah,
I mean, it should be Frank,
that,
but if you look at the preview, so participant share, I believe, is who is the person who's sharing. So you could do, you could build something like you could build a scene where you've got the presenter and the shared screen. The problem is that, Frank, is your camera on? Yeah, your camera's on. For some reason, it's not grabbing the correct presenter. It is grabbing the screen share correctly. I'm absolutely positive that this is user error on my part.
yeah. So I'm able to get it to work now.
Yep.
And I wonder if Frank, if I can take over the screen share.
While we're doing that, Ray, I'm going to pass host to you, only because I do have to hop off. Not yet, but a little early today. If you want to, you can make me co-host again or not, whatever you'd like.
And boom. So I now have hal.local ZoomISO 9 set, and I've got the screen share there. So that is fantastic.
There you go.
Thank you very much, gentlemen. I appreciate it.
Oh, but now wait a second. Hold on. So now here's what, is this the same thing? Okay, now if I choose participant share, I get your screen share. If I choose active screen share, I get I'm getting the same thing essentially, but from two different places.
Yeah. So I guess if you know who the participant is that's
Exactly.
sharing their screen, you could dictate that. And then if I stop the share,
Right.
it will kill it. But then if I share screen again,
Right. But I could set up a feed of you sharing and of Frank sharing, and I can have those ready to go in different scenes.
yeah.
Understood. Okay. So active screen share is sort of like who's talking. It's sort of like Zoom's auto switching, right? Where it just switches to the person who's making the most noise. The active screen share just goes to whatever's active now, whereas participant share is identifying a specific person in their share. For whatever reason, it wasn't working with Frank. I don't know why, but it seems to be working now.
And we have two in the participant panel. We have two red live buttons showing that both of you are sharing this.
Yep. And you've got that green arrow showing that Tom is sharing his screen.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Wow.
Very cool.
That was worth fighting for, Tom, wasn't it?
It was. I mean, it makes my workflow so much easier because previously when I was recording these and I had multiple people, whether I just went with the gallery view from say like a Zoom webinar, just go from the gallery view, or, you know, if I've got them spotlit specifically, whichever version of the video I go with, then I would have to go in and I'd have to crop people out and, you know, zoom them, you know, to a full size, put whatever like lower third I wanted to throw on there. So this time instead, I've just got the independent ISO files and I can work with them more easily. I can template stuff out. Yeah, that's, oh, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, so this is actually a great jumping off point. Let's just really quick kind of run through what's new. For me, one of the biggest changes for both OSC and ISO is the new join flow for personal meeting identifiers. That for Zoom events and all, we now have this. The login is persistent. You've now got on all of these platforms. You got join with a link, which is really nice. SRT, this was a big thing. SRT was a new output type in ZoomISO Pro. I am not smart enough to understand what SRT is, but
it's just a different transport like RTMP or NDI.
And apparently it's a big deal to have it. So
yeah, lower
Yes.
latency
Fantastic.
than the other two.
Yeah.
Yeah, majority of the industry is starting to go away from RTMP, and even YouTube is actually beta testing right now SRT instead of RTMP.
Right. Sample selector rate for NDI embedded audio. Here's that the new capture mode option with live streaming. If it's set to recording, then it'll use local record privilege, and set to live stream, we'll use the live stream privilege and prompt. And then it says that live stream is the default flow, and that this new petition host for capture mode position, which is really nice. That for the host to just get a pop-up saying, hey, so-and-so wants to, really nice. If you enable the output engine without access permissions, and then it will ask us. Fantastic. Blackmagic desktop video outputs can now have audio embedded from the outputs tab. Each port of the device can carry independent audio. A new toggle for displaying the output name on video loss mode for test card or image modes. They'll have the output name displayed as centered white text. New audio mixes. Mix of all outputs. That's nice. That's really nice. Containing the audio of all participants assigned to a video output. One of the reasons I've struggled with ZoomISO is because of the fact that I use Ecamm currently, and Ecamm can only have two audio inputs in addition to your desktop and stuff like that. And so being able to create a mix in ISO and then bring that in actually makes it, I can now use it with Ecamm, which is great. And here again, the cloud recording doesn't prevent ZoomISO from starting. You can cancel a sign-in attempt, embedded audio for display type outputs. Active speaker output mode can now mix minus the self video. That's fantastic also. This output mode now references the client video setting, see myself as the active speaker while speaking, and if it is disabled, ZoomISO will not output the self video feed on active speaker outputs. If the setting is enabled, ZoomISO will include the self video. Wow, there's just a lot. This is a really a pretty big update here for ISO. Let me see if I've got ZoomOSC up here also. These are all available, by the way. It's not easy to find on the website, but if you're on their mailing list, there are links to all of these. So OSC added the new joint flow for logged in users, which ISO had that for a while. We just got it, and I'm thrilled, so excited, because that was a big deal. New OSC commands for showing and hiding self view, and a few fixes, and upgrading the Zoom meeting SDK to 5.15.5. And just while we're here, I'll just show the last one and then I'll stop talking. For Zoom Cuts, they added screen sharing actions. So now you can, you know how in Zoom you can, I used to do, when I screen shared, I used to do this. You can say, just don't ask me what to share, just automatically share my primary screen. That's what I used to do. Now you can do that in Cuts, but you can identify which desktop, which application window, what do you want to do computer audio? You can set that all up ahead of time. The waiting room action is fantastic. That's how I let people into this meeting. I didn't need to use OSC. I could just click my admit all button and it will let people come in from the waiting room, which is fantastic. You can also find individuals in the waiting room. Added is talking property to objects returned by find participants action. So I guess that means you can say find whoever is talking and then take this action on them. Edit feedback when clicking on buttons in the meeting options window. I'll have to look into that. I'm not sure what that means. Oh my goodness, look at this too. Zoom Cuts, if configured to be the default handler for the zooming URL scheme, can open native Zoom links. That's fantastic. How do I do that? How do I set up that so that when I click on a Zoom link, it will open in Zoom Cuts, not in native Zoom? I wonder how I do that. I have no idea how to do that. Does anyone know how you would set this app to be the primary app over? It's not going to be here. That's not it. Huh.
I don't think everybody's using Zoom Cuts.
No, I'm the only bum who's using Zoom Cuts. But I tell you something, folks. If you can use shortcuts, and I was not a shortcuts user, like that's not what I do. Now my buttons aren't working anymore. I'm trying to get back to you and I can't. But now that I've been using shortcuts a little bit, just for these few things, I use it for the waiting room now, for muting audio. I use it for original sound, which is fantastic. Not having to search for the original sound button. I have a button that I can press to turn on or off original sound. I can leave meetings or end meetings quickly with a button. There's a lot of really nice functionality. If you're not into the OSC ISO world, it's right there and it's free. It's really
Correct
nice.
me if I'm wrong, but Zoom Cuts requires an M1 chip or better, right?
It's a really good
Not
question.
allowed on PC.
Because it relies on shortcuts, and shortcuts, I think you need to be. I don't know. Maybe it's just the. I'm not sure. I was asking. I'm not
It's an interesting
telling.
question. I don't know.
Maybe
Let
it's
me
just
see.
the operating system that you have to be at a certain operating system. I have an M1 laptop, but I don't use it right now. I have to configure it.
What do you use instead? Just curious.
A MacBook Pro Intel processor.
Ugh. It doesn't say here that it has to be an M1.
No, I don't. I think I misspoke. I think it's the operating system has to be.
Yeah, it's. I think it's Ventura. It has to be
Ventura or
Ventura.
yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So those are all of my buttons have stopped working now. Now that I got so excited about this. Literally
Your
all
Zoom
of my
cuts buttons.
Yeah. Oh wait, no. Now they're working. Hold on a
That
second.
would make me nervous about it being in a
Nope.
production situation with Zoom cuts.
No, it worked. It's because I had opened a menu item.
Oh,
That
okay.
was my bad. Yeah, but now none of my eCam buttons are working. But that's okay. In any case, those were all the stop laughing, Mike. It's not funny. It's not funny when your buttons don't work. Yeah, 1.0.4. Thank you, Mike, for macOS 13.3 on Ventura. So a lot of updates.
So you're a pretty smart guy. How long did you need to get up to speed on Zoom cuts? How long did it take before you felt like you knew what you were doing?
Well, I still don't know what I'm doing. And to be clear, it wasn't a matter of time. It was a matter of how quickly could I get Andy and or someone from the team to actually sit down and walk me through it. And that happened pretty quickly. So because they are immeasurably patient with me, it was pretty quick. Though here was the one hiccup I had. I'll say two hiccups. The first hiccup is, and this is on me, if you're not familiar with how to build shortcuts, it's not going to be obvious. Some of them are obvious, like for example, the waiting room. Well, here, I'll show you. Shortcuts. Let me just open the app and I'll show you all. But of course, because my buttons aren't working, I have to go over here. All right, so here is shortcuts. So I'm going to go ahead and build a new shortcut. And let's say that I want to build this. I want to do the waiting room one. So I'm just going to type in waiting room. And you can see it comes up immediately. I drag it over. And then once I click on it, I can choose enable waiting room, disable waiting room, admit all, admit. And if I say just admit, it's going to bring up a pop-up for me to choose send or expel. This is now done. This shortcut is done, and I can just trigger it however I want. There are others that are either far more complex because it's worth having them be more complex, or because by necessity. For example, here's the shortcut that I did not build, and I never would have been able to figure this out for pinning. So it starts by finding all participants who are not me, count the number of participants. If there's only one participant, pin that person to the first screen. If it's not just one person, then give me a list of all the participants, and then when I choose them, turn that pin on. So this is more of a complex one.
Can I ask a question? Sorry.
Yeah.
So are Zoom cuts, shortcuts that you design exportable? Can you share them with people?
Yes. So that's one of the great things about this.
So do we have a Discord in the Zoom Test Kitchen Discord for sharing Zoom cuts, shortcuts, whatever?
We actually talked about, I remember someone mentioned that we should have that. I don't know if it ever got set up actually. Let me pull that up and see, because if not, it's easy enough to, and that's one of the great things about this is that it's so easy to share these. I'll show you how to do that in just a moment. So here, I'm just checking out we do not, and I'm not sure if I'm allowed to create, but I will try to. Zoom Test Kitchen. Let's see, can I do this? All right, I'll try and create.
Yeah,
one.
no need to do it live.
But the way that you do it is just like with everything else in Apple. You just click on the
Share button.
Yep, the share button right there, and you can airdrop it.
What's the file extension for a shortcut?
It's an iCloud link.
Oh, okay.
Yep. So the first hiccup for me was just figuring out how to build these. The second hiccup is that I wanted to use them with a Stream Deck, and for Stream Deck there is a shortcuts plugin for Stream Deck. It's not necessarily as reliable as we'd like it to be. So the workaround for that, which again, the team taught me, I did not figure it out on my own, is you come over here into your shortcuts, you right click and you click add to dock. What that does is that creates a little application in your personal application. So if I go up here to my personal thing and I go to applications, whichever one I just did, I don't know. I already had it in. I already had them on here, so that may not have worked. Let me try another one. Let's do paired sharing breakouts. I don't even know what that is. So let's do that one. So I'm going, oh, I know what that one is. So I'm going to click add to dock, and then it will automatically, here it goes, created the app right here. And then on my Stream Deck, instead of doing a shortcut action, I just do a launch action. Launch this application, paired sharing breakouts, and ever since I've done that, it's worked flawlessly. It does pop something up down here in your menu bar in your dock, but you can just drag it out. You don't need to keep it there. Ever since I made that one change from using the shortcuts applet in Stream Deck to using these little apps, there is that.
Are you jealous as a PC user, Mike? Do you wish you could do this?
Not really, to be honest. It's basically the Zoom Cuts it's just it's a flow. It's basically a graphical interface for scripting is basically all they're really doing. If this, then do that. It's all a lot of if this, if this variable equals this, then do that. So as long as you've got that in your brain of what do I want to do, and make sure it basically flow chart your button out ahead of time, and then just make sure that it matches up with the commands would be the easiest way to make a Zoom cut.
So is there any comparable workflow for Windows users?
No. Again, we would have to, from our end, we would have to have some way to integrate with the, right now, I think Liminal, correct me if I'm wrong, David, but now Zoom Cuts, do you have to log in with Zoom Cuts or Zoom Cuts using the Zoom client that's local to your machine?
No, you download a separate client.
So, but again, do you have to log into that client?
Yes.
Of Zoom Cuts?
Well, you don't have to, but if you want to use your account, if you just want to join a meeting with Zoom Cuts, you can just join a meeting. But so what I do is I have this separate client and I log into it, and that's one of the nice changes is now login is persistent. So when it won't drop every once in a while.
You may not know this, but I'm just going to ask anyways in case somebody knows. Does the client support SSO? Single sign-on?
Yeah.
I know what you're talking. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. I don't know. From the Windows end, I don't know.
I'm just wondering if I'll be able to use it because on my Zoom account, everybody in my organization has to sign in through single sign-on. I've asked Andy this question about ZoomISO, and he said it did, but I don't know if Zoom Cuts has that or not.
I don't know. It's a good question.
Yeah. From the technical end of it, if it depends on, and again, you're going to have to help me on this, Frank, because the way that SSO, I'm not on a PC right now that I can do SSO on. So is the SSO coming from Microsoft, or is the SSO actually coming into the Zoom client?
There's lots of different SSO backend engines or whatever you want to call them. I think we're using Active Directory here, but I mean, I think there's Microsoft Azure. There's different, but whatever mechanism it is, I can't log in with a client that doesn't respect SSO, which would
Right.
stop me in my tracks if I want to try and use ZoomCut's client to log in, right?
Right. But again, in the main Zoom client, it has an SSO functionality built in.
Yeah, definitely. It respects it. Zoom's back end, like if you log in as admin and you go into the security settings, any organization or user can, if you have access to the credentials for SSO, then you can plug them in and then you can force all your users to log in with SSO to Zoom.
Okay. And is that forcing it to the Zoom client?
Yeah.
Or is okay. All right.
Any way you try to log into Zoom, whether it's through the browser, through your phone, through an appliance, or through the actual client, you're going to be challenged for your SSL credentials.
Okay. So again, it would depend on the developer. So in this case, Liminal would have to make sure that the SSO functionality that works in conjunction already with the main Zoom client. Now, if they're using the main Zoom client engine, and I'll use that term loosely, then there is the potential that you might be able to get in through SSO then.
You know how Andy sometimes he just pops in like he's listening and he'll come answer? I don't think that'll happen today, but I'm pretty sure I asked him about this question in regards to ZoomISO, and he said yes, it did support it there. So they are aware of it.
Right.
So I don't know if they've incorporated it or not, but if they haven't, they probably would be working on having a way so that, because there are hundreds of thousands, if not millions of Zoom users who have to use SSO to log in. Any big institution's probably going to force you, government, healthcare, education, private industry, everybody uses SSO for authentication.
So for what it's worth, the login windows, the process, the workflow for logging in on CUTS, on ISO, and on OSC looks exactly the same. So
that's promising.
For what it's worth. I'm just looking to see if I can find the information on that.
Yeah, while David's looking for that, I also noticed now that Ray made me co-host that in the actual participants list, it actually is showing who's actually live streaming. Thought that was pretty cool. So it showing me that Tom and your ISO machine, David, is actually sending out a live stream because I've got the live button.
Okay.
I'm not co-host and I can see it in the participants window too.
Yeah. Frank, so the way you sign in with all of these is through it's OAuth 2.0. So it brings you to zoom.us for signing into a Zoom account via any method, SSO, signing with Google, etc. Then it pushes you back to the ZoomOSC, CUTS, or ISO.
Thank you. That's great. Now I have more ability to, when I have some spare time, to get into this.
And there's also join with Zach, which I've never understood.
That's
Zoom authentication. I can't remember what the K stands for.
My brother-in-law.
A Zach token. I've never. They've tried to explain that to me. I haven't figured it out. But that is.
Will Zoom come out with Active Directory? Over to you, Frank.
Out of my wheelhouse. Sorry.
Just thought I'd ask, because there's a lot of Microsoft-ish stuff that they're getting into. So that would be next.
Well, it's just if you're going to have these special clients that do special things, it's fantastic. But if everyone who has to authenticate can't use them, it's kind of, you're cutting out a big market segment of potential users, right?
Yeah, exactly. But again, I was just kidding around, a Zoom domain controller, but you know what I'm saying?
How long has Zoom CUTS been out? I remember it feels like 6 months, but maybe it's not that long. I can't remember.
Oh, goodness. I don't think it's even that long.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's relatively new. I imagine there'll be like Zoom CUTS 2 or something, and there'll be more functionality, right? Like it's just going to get better over time, right?
I hope so. That's the plan.
Why don't you tell us? You know what's going on in the future.
Yeah.
I know some stuff about Zoom. I don't know stuff about Liminal.
That's why I was throwing the, Zoom domain controller at you to see if it would stick, but I guess it didn't.
No.
Well, I'm pretty close to some people that are working on Zoomtopia, and they're scrambling. There's so much going on at that company, and they're challenged to be able to get everything done in time for curtains to go up. It's a busy place now, and they could use a lot of the people that got laid off.
So, out of curiosity, David, any interest in having a live experience, like a listening party on all of us watching it together and commenting, or
Yes.
that'd be kind of fun, right?
Absolutely. I'm looking at, what is the date? November what?
I can't remember.
It's early on, isn't it?
I'm signed up, but I don't remember the date.
Let me look through and see where it is.
Right around the corner. Let's go to October.
Is it October or? I don't know why.
Yeah, I'm looking for it too.
Third and fourth.
Here we go. I got it. Zoomtopia, October 3rd and 4th. Oh, you're right. Yeah, it's sooner than I thought. October 3rd and Tuesday, Wednesday.
We hope to have a booth there. That's why I knew.
Oh yeah. Nice.
We have a
Yeah,
new-
once we should definitely, certainly the keynote we should do. They don't have, I don't see, I'm just looking to see if there's a schedule of any kind out.
We could even do it. Like, there'll probably be recordings. You could do it on our regular Friday session. We could just, if you could download it somehow, and then we could talk over it or something.
Oh, it'll be available for playback.
And then swiftly get taken down from
Oh,
YouTube
copyright
for-
infringement. Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see here.
I don't know. I mean, I subscribe to a bunch of shows who live stream Apple's keynote, and they talk over it, and it's for journalists. They get away with it because it's for journalistic purposes, right?
Called fair use.
So we've got, the opening vision and innovation keynote is on Tuesday at 12:30 Eastern. The main stage keynote is on Wednesday at 12. I wonder which is, oh, probably both of them.
Yeah,
So,
it looks like the 12 o'clock is when everything starts.
yeah.
So one of us would have to actually be logged into the actual Zoom event platform to actually bring it out.
Well, what we can do, I think, is we can all watch it and then just kind of be in another Zoom meeting and talking. I don't think we
Sure.
have to stream it into the meeting necessarily, although we could if we wanted to.
Oh yeah.
I need to add this to my calendar though, because I have the whole thing in my calendar, but I want to put these dates in.
Yeah, it looks like it's each day they're going for. Each day looks like first day is like 9 hours. Next day is 12 hours. On the Tuesday is 9 hours, and the next day is 12 hours.
October 3rd, 12:30 to 2.
And that was based on their add to calendar when you actually signed up.
Yeah, it didn't add to my calendar. I don't know why.
Yeah, because
some
I've got the
reason.
full information here about the, for me to get logged in and such into the.
So wait, so why didn't it add to my orders?
What you might want to do, Dave, is check the email when you registered. It
Yeah.
might have been an add to calendar in there.
Yup. I know I registered. Zoomtopia.
While you're looking, I remember from Zoomtopia last year, the Zoomtopia event site has an agenda where you can build your own planner about what sessions you want to go to. Do you know if anyone know if that's live yet?
I'll check.
There's far too many things to go to.
So right now you can't even get into the lobby.
Okay, that makes sense.
Let's see here. Show more. Yeah, you can see a whole bunch of stuff, but it doesn't look like you can build anything yet. You can search sessions, you can filter sessions. It's a nice website. It's nice and clean, and view ticket. Let me see. Oh, here's the add to calendar. Okay. Oh, see, the problem is, yeah, it doesn't add.
Oh,
So
what does it allows you to download the ICS?
Yeah, no, I can add it. It's just, but all it does is add one big meeting from the 3rd to the 5th. It doesn't, like, it's just going to show me as busy both days, completely, totally busy.
Ray, where is it this year? Or is it always in the same city? Like, I don't know. I've never been to it in real life. I've only been virtual.
Is it in Vegas? No? I don't know. Ray, do you know where it is?
It's in Silicon Valley, someplace. No, that's right. I think it is in Vegas. I'm part of it, but I'm at this end talking to an exhibit booth.
Neat.
Gotcha.
A virtual exhibit booth.
No, a real exhibit booth.
Oh, a real exhibit booth. Well, cool.
It's interesting. I'm looking at the email invite, and I'm actually not seeing any information about. Oh, here. Interested in attending in person? Oh my gosh,
Yeah,
Ludicrous.
San Jose is what I
So
see.
that's good.
That's right. It's in San Jose. And it's very expensive. 800.
Yeah, $895.
It's going to come down.
So it's the real price is $14.95. Apparently that was like $500 for the first 2 days. They brought it down. Now it's up to $895.
Mm-hmm.
Like last year, they'll bring it down.
Yeah. 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 Interesting. All right, Ray, I'm passing it to you. I have to jump off. It was
Understood.
good seeing you guys.
Good to see you. Thanks
I'll
for
see you next week.
We very much appreciate for you taking this on. We appreciate it.
Oh, so I love it. You kidding me? It's fantastic. I'll catch you guys soon.
Good. So who's got something that they want to talk about? I have something I'd like to share. I did something very unusual this week. 3 weeks ago, I came down with bronchitis. And as some of you know, I teach public speaking, presentations, principally been on Zoom since the COVID. But I had my first sessions where I had to teach 4 scientists who are going to Hong Kong next week to demo a brand new product in front of an audience of 4,000 people from an $8 billion company. And they wanted me to fly to their headquarters and coach these 4 people. Since I was still coughing, they said, can you do it remotely? And I had never done a training session with people remotely. And it was quite an experiment. They brought me in because I have some experience with this, but they wanted to bring it alive. So what I did was everybody that was involved was on a Zoom type meeting, and including the bosses upstairs and the people participating in the studio. The talent had their phone hooked up to the meeting, and I could talk to them individually. And I was on a big screen in front of the room because you try to teach people how to talk to one person. But I had some demos that I had to do that I didn't know how I'd be able to do it. For example, my new book is called "What Do I Do with These?" We all have 2 of them. It's a big problem for live presenters, and that is, what do you do with these? And so how was I going to present that in this box? And I said, well, I'll bring in my brother-in-law, handsome fellow. And so all I did was bring in that experiment. And believe it or not, that was enough to make it work. And I now am booked for 3 more sessions training people who have to speak, platform speak in public using this technology. I'm quite fortunate. It extends my half-life a little further.
Congratulations. That's very exciting.
I'm very surprised at how well it worked. I had a technician in the other venue and the writer who wrote the script that they're supposed to work off of. None of them did, but at least the content person was there. So I get people that have 2 things going for them. One is they're a content expert. Well, these are scientists that have been working on this product for 7 years. The second thing doesn't sound very efficient, but for $10.4 million invested in this product, I guess that's it. The second thing is they have to have a defined date and time where they have to give the speech. And that's where they become interested in what I have to tell them. Otherwise, I've tried telling it to a group of people in a class or what have you, but they don't take it home. So it has to be somebody that's committed. And I just wanted to report that was a surprising element. And part of what was surprising is that everybody that was interested had their own private entry into the training session. Who'd have thunk?
Well, I think it's amazing. You know, we spend so much time talking about making your camera look nice and sounding nice, but what about your delivery once all that's taken care of, right?
Well, and that's I'm known as the 8-minute speech coach because basically what I have to tell you are just 15 things to do, and one of the most important things is hit the right button, is home base. Everybody that has to speak in public has to deal with this problem. What do I do with these? Do I put them in my pocket? Do I put the fig leaf position? What do I actually do? And once I unlock that, that has a lot to do with people who could basically tell the story at Thanksgiving dinner to 10 people in the room with equal passion, no PowerPoint, no props, no script, no downstage monitor. So if you know that stuff and you have an appointed time, I can help you work magic.
Where can we get your book? Where is it available?
It's called On the Job Speech Training, and it is in Kindle version on Amazon.
Amazing.
86 cents or something like that. It's inexpensive, and the new one is due out in January.
Oh,
kind of fun.
I wish you great success. I'll have a look for that. I don't have a Kindle. My daughter does, but maybe she'll lend it to me.
It'll work on any tablet or.
Oh, perfect. Wonderful.
Doesn't really matter. It's pretty cool. It's something I developed working along. I've been doing this for 30 some odd years, producing corporate events. Mm-hmm. I did something for GE and GE Capital where there were 800 employees from GE Capital coming in from all over the world for a week in Puerto Rico, the first week of January. Many of them found out as they got on the plane that they had to give a 10-minute speech about their product. So they landed all nervous. They didn't even get to go to their room. They came right to the ballroom, met with the graphics people and said, okay, here's a few points that I want to cover. They got thrown to me on stage where I would stand in front of 800 empty chairs and say, now we got to work your magic. And so I had 8 minutes basically to deal with them to get them to be successful. And it's quite nice. I have a slew of very, very successful people who said being able to speak in public is one of the critical things in advancing your career.
After we're done here, I'll Google it and try and find it, and I'll send you 86 cents.
Oh, it's worth every penny.
I'm sure it's worth a lot more.
What else do we want to carry on? That was my little commercial. I appreciate it. What
Very
else?
interesting.
Carry on. We don't have to strengthen this any longer than necessary. It's down just to the core players.
Over to you, Mike.
Yeah,
Here.
Mike,
Over to me. Okay. Well, what's new this week? Okay, so I was involved a little bit in the Streaming Media Connect conferences this week. So that was on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. Again, it was more of it was half broadcaster audience and half live streaming audience. There was very limited seminars on the live streaming / event streaming type of content, but it was more of the type of content that you would have if you're doing more like, I'll be generic and say IPTV. So basically the scenario there is, a lot of it was some of the big broadcasters. So there was a couple people there from Paramount. There's a couple people there from HBO Max. So again, we're talking a lot of the big guys.
Are you talking about over the top? Like
No.
set-top boxes over the top broadcasts?
Oh, yes. Sorry. When I mean IPTV, that is you doing the IP television functionality. So is it over the top? It is not necessarily over the top, but it is over the top is more of I'll do it this way, marketing term, where it's basically instead of doing regular television over coax or over satellite or
isn't that called linear now?
Right. Yeah. So that would be more linear television or versus over the top, where over the top is more IPTV, but nobody wants to call it IPTV. And there's a lot of different acronyms that are being thrown around, but the true technology is it's IP television because it's actually doing streaming. So your Netflixes would fit in here, your Amazon Primes, your Pluto TVs, all these guys are doing IPTV really, but they don't want to call it IPTV because IPTV's gotten a bad rap because it's been more the illegal end of the television world. But really, is it the same technology? 100%. Do they want to market it that way? Absolutely not. So they want to do the over the top. It's over the top doing it this way. But does that really mean anything? No. Is it talking about the true technology? No. Are they still sending RTMP streams to a streaming server and you're watching HLS? 80 to 90% of the time, yes. When it's live. When it's, the Netflixes or the Amazon Primes or insert here, if you're doing VOD, which is video on demand, that is usually being pushed to you. And that could be in all the different technologies. I know David actually, when we were doing the stuff earlier about the new ZoomISO, where Andy and the crew have added SRT, that is becoming a big thing because again, the SRT protocol is going to eventually replace the Adobe protocol RTMP. Yes, our friends at Adobe actually made the good old RTMP back in the Adobe Flash server and Flash media player days. That's how old the RTMP protocol is. So yeah, I've done some previous seminars as Ray has done teachings as well. I've also taught one of our large telcos here. I was brought in to teach them and do presentations for them to actually teach them what IPTV is and why the CEO and everybody else in the company would like to move away from, as you said, linear television over coax to IP television over coax.
So I have a lot of experience with that stuff, but
yeah. So in that regards, that was a lot of interesting, and you might know one of the big conglomerates that might be in Ottawa as well. There, Sir Frank, teaching their accounting department. Why are we changing? It's still going to be on the coax, right? We still have to pay for coax, right? Yeah.
Mhm. Infrastructure.
So I had to say to them, I said, talk to your managers why you're going to IPTV versus, and of course, the product I'm talking about, but we don't have to bring that up on YouTube.
No.
Basically the scenario is, it's truly IPTV. It's IP television, Internet Protocol Television. So there was a lot of acronyms being thrown around like FAST. And what is FAST? That is free ad-supported television. So you guys might know those platforms as well. That would be your Pluto TVs. That would be your Roku TVs. Some of the other ones that you don't have to sign, you don't have to give a credit card to, and you just get, usually 9 times out of 10, it would be content that is not live. 9 times out of 10, it would be, you'd be watching Big Bang Theory because somebody got the rights. It would be all episodic content that they would, if you're in the mood of binge watching season 1 through season 10 of Big Bang Theory, and you've got, 5 days to spend to watch them all 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, go for it. But basically that's what those, the FAST program or the FAST channels are doing. And they had some different people. One of the presenters was actually the CEO of, if everybody knows, Hart. I'm trying to think of his name, the comedian. Anyways, he's always in a lot of movies with The Rock.
I know who you mean. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kevin Hart.
Kevin Hart. Yeah. So Kevin Hart's head technical person actually came in talking about all the different channels and such that Kevin is now doing with all of his content that'll be eventually FAST related. So it'll be all, if you check it out on YouTube, yes, everybody on YouTube, you can check out Kevin Hart's new 24-hour, I think he's actually doing some sort of live channel now where it's all Kevin Hart, doing all types of different stuff. He was doing stuff in conjunction with Old Spice. If you're familiar with the Old Spice commercial where the guy comes in. Yeah. So Kevin Hart is actually doing a series of interviewing sports people, doing that content. And he was discussing he was amongst the panel discussing stuff like that. And a lot of those archives will be available on YouTube and the streaming media YouTube channel coming this week, as far as I understand from what they were telling us. But it was interesting. Again, I've been in the streaming industry since the late 90s. So for me, I love geeking out, especially getting into the core of dealing with a lot of these guys, especially at the content delivery network side, considering I've built many content delivery networks for many different companies that I've worked for in the past.
Well, since the late 90s, that's basically the beginning of streaming video that way. Yeah, absolutely. And again, I've been streaming since streaming hasn't been cool, is what my terminology has been. So
come over coax. I thought it was going to come over fiber or Ethernet or something.
I'll explain. I know, Frank, depending on if you're with one of the two different major companies.
My internet comes in on coax.
Yeah. So he's with the company that I trained. Not necessarily depending on the area that Frank is in. There is rumored that they will do both technologies simultaneously. So you could actually get fiber in and coax as
fiber
well.
To the house. Yeah.
Yeah. But again, depending on the neighborhoods right now, I know in the neighborhoods that I'm in, our cable co is starting to move away from the coax plants and actually put it on fiber. But again, it's a slow burnout situation. But again, the internet capabilities is also DOCSIS. So again, Frank's nodding his head because he knows what I'm talking about, which means that you're basically, think about it, especially if you're a classic in the telco land, and it goes back into the late 80s, if not even earlier than that. Back in the day, they used to have what they used to call party line telephone. Yeah, go ahead, Ray.
1 ring meant it was you. 2 rings meant it was the other neighbor. 3
right.
rings We had
Yeah,
that.
so basically I can explain DOCSIS this way, that it's the party line version of cable, which means that if you actually pay for a certain internet package, depending on how many neighbors also have that internet package in your neighborhood, you are sharing that bulk of bandwidth. You are not guaranteed.
And if your provider hasn't oversubscribed it.
Right. Right. And that's assuming, and Frank's right. And that's assuming too, that where that cable from your neighborhood is actually going back to, which we call the CO, central office. As long as the central office has enough quote unquote bandwidth at its location as well, you might get close to the expected uploads and downloads that you've been promised.
I would love symmetrical upload and download. Wouldn't that be a great thing?
Yes. In Canada, we're doing our darndest to, we can get it as a business package, but we can't get it residentially, which is what Frank is talking about.
We have fiber in the house. Our community was built with fiber to all the houses, 700 something members. And I get 270 up and 250 something down. And obviously ample bandwidth, and it over and above my HOA fee, which includes the basic, which is 100. It's $25 more a month, and then it comes into the house and is divided by an ONT that divides television, phone, and internet.
Right. Yeah, and basically what they end up doing, depending on your telco, I can explain more of our telco up here in Canada. Is basically it's each segment that you end up getting on the telco side in Canada, I almost said their company name, is basically broken into VLANs. So if we know networking, so a certain VLAN will have the television feeds on it in multicast, by the way. And your set-top box will just decode that multicast stream. Now, it's a certain, so internet will be on its own VLAN, television will be on its own VLAN in most cases. And in most cases, it's the same number in every neighborhood, because it just makes it easier for the telco to deploy the modem routers that they end up sending to each house. And people have figured out the magic numbers. So that you can, quote unquote, if you have the right technology and the right equipment, you could potentially bypass their modem router and actually, as long as you turn on the proper VLANs, we'll get the proper things you are paying for, meaning television, internet, or both. You won't get free versions of things, because again, they still will on the fiber end, they still control that at the CO. Because now you're bypassed your neighborhood, you're going to the CO and it's being controlled at the CO. Where right now in my location, I'm fiber to the neighborhood. So I have fiber to my local box and I'm copper to my house. So that's fiber to the neighborhood versus, or they call it fiber to the node. So node would be the actual telco box. And it's literally, if your original telco box is slim, it's got all the copper coming in it, and most of the ones that have fiber are the ones that have the new fins on each side, and those are all the fiber that they've added to that box so they can patch it in so that the copper gets, and they got special, I'll leave it this way to be simple, basically converters in there from the fiber from fiber to coax. But back to the head end, to the CO, it's already fiber. So now I just need them to do what they call in the telco world the last mile, which is now from the node to my house. And then I'll truly have fiber to the home.
I just put in my, this is our speedtest.net as of now, in the chat. And we have, I have a little bit higher level than most people in the neighborhood because they have the basic. And they all lost connection a week or two ago for an hour, and I didn't. I don't know how that happened. Is it because I have a higher tier and it sent a different path?
Well, here's my vision, knowing the telco world as much as I do. Now, again, Ray, you're on coax, right?
Oh, fiber to the house.
Fiber to the house. Okay, so chances are the VLAN that they gave you was still up, but the VLAN that your neighbors were on died.
I understand that.
And it might have been at the CO end coming up that the VLAN, because again, a lot of the VLANs will get generated at the CO. You won't have a custom VLAN. They won't be that simplistic. Because again, basically your VLAN will eventually have a pipe at the end of it, right? Just like a normal networking VLAN, you can VLAN all you want within even your local LAN, right? Especially if you're running NDI or Dante or anything funky like that, you should definitely be VLANing. But so it's basically the same scenario in the telco world, the TV world, is they basically said, okay, this VLAN is going to be dedicated to this major router at the CO that is hooked up to this major backbone, right? It's probably 10 gigabit, if not 20 gigabit, if not even 100 gigabit, or even 25 gigabit, or if not 100 gigabit to the core, what they say to the core, which means that, your next router after that is basically the cloud marketing term. It's always extra routers. It's always going to be router after router after router, but it's marketing term. Then you're in the cloud. As soon as you leave your ISP, then you're in the cloud, quote unquote. But again, the more, and this is always a tip that I always give all my streaming people that I teach as well, is that make sure the amount of hops you have between your broadcasting encoder to the streaming server is as minimal as possible, because when you do a trace route, every step that you see in the trace route is a major router. So at any time, any of those routers can die. Now, what ends up happening, depending on your knowledge of your ISP, and 9 times out of 10, your ISPs are fairly good at this. If one router does die, they usually have it what they would call multi-homed, meaning that it automatically knows that, okay, I'm going to send my main traffic this way. Oh, no, it died. Okay, I know now I have to go a different way. And that's using terminology of MPLS. Frank, did I remember that right? I think it's that terminology. He's smiling at me, so that's maybe. I'll take that as a maybe. Yeah, so basically there's a protocol that actually is listening to make sure that the routers at your ISP, it knows which best one to use at that particular point. But again, when it comes to your neighbors, if they're on that lower package, it very well could be that the ISP is basically put everybody on that similar VLAN at the CO, and that is what you thanks, Frank. Or no, that was Ray. Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, okay. So that was Andy. Okay. So Andy is saying yes, SSOs are in your stuff, Frank. So there you go. So you got your official report.
It's amazing how he just seems to always be everywhere all the time, eh?
Well,
very cool, Andy. Thanks for watching.
In the broadcast world, I know that they negotiate to get to the furthest or the best of what are the A sites or whatever, so that there's a couple of paths. But I don't think residential we have that kind of choice. We just take it or leave it.
Right. And again, that's the big difference now between the old, when they used to, in the broadcast day, of course, going to satellite, of course, it's basically equivalent to multicast, right? You're up there and, you're taking it down from the satellite dish in the sky, your satellite, I guess, in that point to the satellite dish locally. You're basically doing it's beamed up and you're beaming down. So that would be more of a multicast type of scenario where anybody that has got the coordinates to that satellite in the sky if you're in the wide open, of course, then and only then anybody can bring it down. But again, if you're getting into doing like encryption on there, of course, then you have to have a receiver that decrypts, right? So you remember those days, Frank. Array. So that was the way that was. So the on the internet side, of course, that's more VPN-ish in that regards. That would be more VPN, where if you want to be site to site and get through to be sort of a dedicated path all the time, then you're VPNing in. Now with VPN, it gets you to your location. So that means then you're still, now if you had an encoder and then you send the encoder over the VPN, is it possible? Yes. Because it's IP to IP, the encoder doesn't care. You just tell it which IP it's got to send it to. So you could, over a VPN, in theory, have the encoder at one end, a VPN tunnel set up, a streaming server at that other end of the VPN, and receiving it. Will that work? 100%. Because the encoder, as far as it's concerned, it's got the LAN address once you connect via VPN, and the streaming server is on the LAN already. So as long as it can see that IP over the LAN, then you're fine. Now that would be, is that going to eliminate the hops? No, because in theory, the VPN is only making a secured tunnel, but it's still relying on the lower end routers still to be there, right? So that's the most important about it is, so it's still, if you're, my rule of thumb when it comes to the amount of hops between your encoder and the streaming server, no matter being YouTube, AWS, Vimeo, insert, Twitch, Facebook, insert here, LinkedIn, it's best to be 10 hops or less. And those are 10 basically bottlenecks that you have to assume are going to be okay through the whole broadcast. And, if one of them do die, of course, the streaming server or the encoder is just going to, depending on the encoder, of course, it will just basically wait for that next hop to come up so that your ISP or the cloud is rerouting you through the traffic jam, shall we call it, for lack of a terminology.
Generally, they're running two simultaneous.
What do you mean, Ray? Say again?
Out of a sports stadium or something, they have two high priority paths.
Primary and secondary.
Primary and secondary.
Yeah, usually primary and a backup. What I've done in the past when I used to do a lot of pay-per-view stuff at a previous job, we used to do fiber in as primary and satellite as backup. We would take it off the internet entirely. And again, what I ended up having done there was I actually, to the data center, to my encoders in the data center itself, I actually had it was lit fiber, but it wasn't lit fiber internet. It was lit fiber, and they were sending me audio video over fiber. So I was actually taking I actually had a video fiber decoder that was then bringing it out to SDI so I could plug it into my encoder capture card. And then I had it in whatever format at that particular point because it was in the PC at that point.
I used to be in a business where we owned 3 C-band trucks, 30-foot monsters. The coordination problems back in those days were amazing. We had to park in a certain way so that we wouldn't screw up local antennas. It was tedious. It's so much better now. Well, this is, I think we've used our allotted time. Otherwise, we're going to pay more.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about, Ray, there. I do. Satellite time is very expensive.
New York, or the favorite line is, I don't know, New York, it's coming out of here fine. Standard line from the remote truck.
Mm-hmm.
I even used microwave for that.
Yeah, I had to do that in a couple of cases where we just couldn't get permission for trucks. Then they started building concrete sidewalls on the loading dock to the stadiums where we could actually back in and would be protected on three sides. That's the extent that we went to, but those trucks are worthless today. I guess they're in, I don't know, they're in some foreign country making some money for somebody.
Well, no, not necessarily. Actually, we do have some dealers that are the big boys that go out for ESPN and everything. So
ESPN and NBC, we did all NBC sports. And
yeah.
It was a challenge. So they're still doing the C-band uplinks?
They are my dealers that are doing it right now for NHL. They're piping into fiber into the venue right now. So they're going video fiber out. They're not even going internet. Well, they can go internet if they want. But they go video fiber in. They've basically got a master panel right in where the truck pulls in now. They've actually wired up the actual master panel where they've already brought, again, in a lot of the big hockey arenas, especially because they're running, I got to remember now, if it's 20 odd cameras, 30 odd cameras in there now. So everything's wired to where the cameras are normally set up. So they've already got the breakout panels within the building, but that master panel is in the loading dock area where they back in the trailers. And then that's just fed into the trucks. But they're going internet fiber out of, again, in Frank's world, Ottawa, in my world, Toronto, they would be going out fiber out of the actual local to the building. And knowing Toronto as well as I do, fiber, the fiber runs where the Toronto actual arena is literally, I won't say a stone's thrown away, but it's to the main, basically they're, 2 or 3 hops to Chicago from Toronto. And in Frank's world, Ottawa is going to go to, unfortunately, either backhauling to Toronto or backhauling to Montreal before it goes down to New York.
Well, we have the same thing in American football and baseball stadiums now. Most of the switching is done remotely. Some of them are still done in the truck, but it's an awful lot of it that's done remotely.
Yeah, no, all my guys are still switching in the truck, and they, depending on how many feeds are getting out, they will actually bring in them. They will bring in, so equivalent would be, so if you're watching, let's say you're watching NHL, and all of a sudden it's on multiple channels. As an example, when they do the NHL that's outside, they will actually bring in 4 trucks for that. And my guys will bring in the 4 trucks for that. 2 will be for Canada, 2 will be for US, and one of them, they might bring in another separate one if they want to go international as an international feed. So that they each has, again, the American guys will go to an American-based commentators. So that's their American-based commercials, of course, but that's more at the head end. That's more at the CO, at the control room, when they send it back. That does all the advertisements. But when it comes to local interviews and stuff like that, they'll have, again, they'll have their own set of trucks, and literally they just cross patch panel. Everybody has the same camera feeds. So if we're watching the American feed versus the Canadian feed, and if the American feed looks a little more grainier than the Canadian feed, that's because of the fact that the Americans have decided to make it look grainy for whatever reason compared to us Canadian guys up here. I don't know why. Frank knows what I'm talking about. If we ever watch our friends at NBC versus our CBC guys up here in Canada, the NBC feed is usually spectacularly grainy.
Your hockey football is so much smaller than our football. It can't be grainy. You never see it.
Well, we tried, that's why we ended up putting the glowing puck. We wanted to make sure the Americans saw the glowing puck.
We get
don't do that
substituted feed because of Canadian commercial content.
Yes. We won't talk about how we love and don't necessarily like the CRTC, especially for Super Bowl. But yeah, where you guys see all the Super Bowl ads, we do not.
I don't
We
see
see
it.
Canadian. We see Canadianized versions of the Super Bowl feed.
I have TiVo. I don't see any ads.
There you go.
Gentlemen, let's call it a night. Thank you very much. Remember Zoom Test Kitchen every Friday afternoon, 3:00 Eastern. And David will be back. And we usually have a bigger crowd. Wonder if it's a holiday or what the circumstance is, but we're sure we have a good viewership on YouTube, and we welcome your comments, your input. See everybody next week.